Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Alex. I am a real estate investor, and I want to make these videos to share with you the things I'm learning, the challenges I'm having, the struggles I'm having, and hopefully you guys can use this information to accelerate your own journey, right? So today I want to go over an agent call that I had about a subject to deal where it's basically kind of showing you guys how I like to handle these calls, some of the objection overcomes that the agents are going to have, which are typically going to be the same ones the sellers have, and how to kind of navigate that. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
You leave off with Darren, and I can kind of roll from there.
Yeah, I get, and just so you know, I have a background in financing. I've been doing real estate for a long time, plus I used to do financing. So I just don't quite understand. It says it's not an assumable, but it's a purchase, but you take over payments. So I'm just trying to figure how this works.
Yes. Okay. So essentially, so we're investors, right? We have two main ways of making money. Option one is properties that need a lot of work, right? We buy them cash, we fix them up, we resell them for more. But that's obviously not really the case here because this property is pretty nice. So
Right.
what we elect to do, maybe a different option that might be a much better fit for your seller, because obviously we can pay way more, is when we buy them this way, where essentially we come in, we take over that existing financing. We basically just buy the property with the existing financing in place, and then we can pay your seller out their equity, pay your commission, pay closing costs, that sort of thing. So
Every chance you get to remind the agent that, hey, I'm going to pay your commission, you're going to get paid, you're going to get paid. Don't be afraid of this creative deal. You're going to get paid. That's something that you want to include with your agent conversations.
your seller gets more money, right? So that's a motivator for some people, right? Or people in low equity positions where maybe that's the only way they can sell without having to cut a check or something too.
Right. So what is the upside for you? How does
Mm-hmm.
I don't
So
understand when you say take over payments? How do you take over the house without paying off the mortgage?
yep. So it's the real technical term for it that doesn't really matter, but it's technically called a subject to transaction because we're just purchasing the property subject to the existing liens and financing. So
Okay.
essentially, that debt becomes our responsibility at that point. The way we make money there is we kind of come at it from a different angle at that point. So we can't flip it because we're kind of buying that too high of a price. So essentially, now we look at it as cash on cash return. So okay, if we give the seller, we pay your commission, we pay closing costs, we give the seller X dollars, but we can turn it into a long-term rental. Maybe if it
Right.
cash flows, then we can make it make sense there.
Right. So what happens if you stop making payments on it?
Excellent question. So what we essentially do is we give every single one of our sellers a performance deed. That is just a document. It's the same thing that banks use, deed in lieu of foreclosure. Same exact document. It just says if we ever miss a single payment by 30 days, they get the entire property deeded back to them instantly. They don't have to foreclose on us. They don't have to track us down. They keep all our money. They keep any improvements we've done to the property. And essentially, we lose our entire investment at that point. So that is how they are protected. Hopefully, that never ever happens. We have over 1,200 doors. Never happened a single time. But it's a good question to ask, obviously, because you want to know that you're protected.
So a couple things there. I'm kind of throwing around terms that are slightly higher level than normal, which maybe you want to do with an agent, maybe not. But also, this lady had let me know that she's been in finance for the last like 20 years. So honestly, I'm still not sure I should have done that because if I were to give some feedback on myself, because everyone can beat their chest and say I've been in finance 20 years, but she's literally never heard of this transaction. So maybe I should have dumbed it down a little bit, just a little more crayon language is what we like to say. So most of the time, when you throw out words that are intimidating that people don't understand, they're gonna shell up. They're not gonna move forward. There's no way people are gonna move forward with something that they don't understand. So it's imperative that you break it down and you use words that are super easy to understand that make a lot of sense, make everyone feel calm, comfortable. Right?
Your investment
Mm-hmm.
into the
That's correct.
property. And then the monthly, because I mean, you don't even know what the monthly payment is. So how do you hedge your stuff?
Exactly. So in order for us to get like we send you the LOI, that's kind of an estimate. In order for us to get like a real contract offer in front of you, most of the time, the easiest way to get all the information, we just need a picture of the latest mortgage statement. So that's going to tell us the monthly payment, so the PITI, the interest rate, maybe if there's a maturity date on there, the loan type, that's kind of useful information too. But the major stuff is the PITI, interest rate, and that sort of stuff. So that's essentially what we would need if your seller is open to something like this. That's kind of be the next step. And if there's any pushback there, obviously they can scribble out any personal information. We don't care about literally any of that. We just care about the math side, the numbers.
But the deed, does it transfer to your name?
Yes. Yep. So we would be the full owners. We would be the ones liable for everything. The deed does transfer into our name. And, obviously, most of the time you pay off all liens every time the deed changes, but it's line 203, I think, on the HUD statement, where we can just accept those deeds, okay, or accept those liens and be like, okay, we will take responsibility for those now. So we're just buying the property.
So doesn't the buyer under the lender currently that she has, isn't there something blocking her from doing this?
There is. So what most loans have is called a due on sale clause, right? I'm sure you've heard of that. So essentially, the lender, after your seller does this transaction, if the lender wanted to, they could foreclose on us, right? That's their right. To be honest with you, we know the math on that. It's about 1 in 1,000 houses. If that happens, if the lender does try to take the house back because the ownership changed, we would be forced to refinance, and that would cost us a little bit of money, but it's not that big of a cost, and it happens so crazily infrequently that it's actually an extremely low risk. But yes, that is a risk. We do account for it. It's in the numbers. And yep, it's something that we have to basically take into account.
So with this call, it's kind of her just throwing out this objection, okay, and then this objection, and then this objection, right? And I'm trying to just go into depth and just overcome these objections one at a time. Hopefully she feels comfortable after every single one. And that way she's going to be fully informed and she's going to fully understand it when she goes and talks to her client about all this. So, talked about the performance deed, talked about the due on sale clause. What else? What happens if you guys miss a payment? All sorts of stuff. So that's kind of going to be the nature of a lot of these agent calls, is they're going to be like objection, 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 and you're just going to be like, oh, no problem, just overcome that, and then they'll probably have another one, and you just overcome that, and just sound calm, sound credible, sound like you've done this, sound like you've been there before.
And this is all legal done through a title company?
Yes, ma'am. Of course, we always go through title companies. We always use attorneys, go on the up and up, and.
Because she currently has an FHA loan. Does that make any difference?
No, we do a lot of FHA loans. I think you might have mentioned to Darren. He mentioned to me in passing that she's trying to buy another property, or I guess what's your seller's next steps? Okay, she's not.
No, she's not buying another property, so she's just getting out.
Yes.
She was in an accident and she had some changes in her life, and she would just really like to, walk away with some money and start over and not be in a home ownership place for a while.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So how does this affect her a few years from now?
It really
that mortgage isn't that mortgage going to stay on her credit, correct?
All that happens is there's only positives, right? So she continues to have a performing mortgage on her credit, right? So every single month, obviously, she gets a little bump for that. When she goes to apply for a new loan in the future, a lot of sellers, are worried, I have this loan out, it's going to affect my DTI, that sort of thing. So actually, the cool thing that we do, we use a servicing company. So we pay the servicing company, and then the servicing company pays the tax man, the insurance, the mortgage, all that stuff. But essentially, that servicing company is proof that we're the new party responsible for making these payments. And that proof can be used to completely wipe that off her debt to income ratio after 1 year. And before 1 year, it's 75%. So we can wipe off 75% of it in the first year, and then after that, it's 100%.
is there ever going to come a time where that mortgage will be off her name? Is that ever something you,
Yes.
when does,
So I guess what we like to say, just to try to set expectations, like, hey, just plan on this being in your name forever. But honestly, in reality, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years down the road, we're gonna want that equity out. So to kind of keep growing this machine. If we have $50,000, $100,000 of equity sitting in a property, we could turn that into 3, 4 other properties, honestly. So
right.
it just
So
kind of
the
makes
upside
financial
is, so
sense.
the upside is you keep the equity, you give the seller something up front, but you get to keep the equity as you're making the payment.
Yeah, so the big advantage for us is, I don't know her interest rate or anything like that, but I'm guessing it's below 7.
6.75. Yeah,
Okay.
6.75.
Yeah. So I mean, if we were to go get a loan today, it'd be 7.5 or something, So we're gonna get a little bit better interest rate. And then on top of that, since she's already, her loan is a little bit older too, because as you know, like the first couple loan payments are like all interest, right? So the further down that loan schedule we get, the more principal payment it is too. So that's another little advantage for us. But that's kind of how we make money.
And would you be able to give me, once I give you a mortgage statement, the money to her, how that is going to look?
Yeah. So once we get the mortgage statement, I'll be able to put it through my underwriting team, excuse me. And then at that point, we'll be able to draw it up on a contract, exactly what we can do, how much cash to the seller we can get, and obviously we'll pay your commissions and we'll pay closing costs. But yep, we'll have that all in a contract in front of you guys for you to look at.
Okay. All right. Well, that does answer quite a few of my questions.
So essentially, this whole call is just the realtor like objection, 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 and it's just overcome it, overcome it, overcome it. And that's going to be the things that you guys are going to have to practice, things that you guys are going to have to get down. You want to be sharp as a tack. I've got a lot of stuff to work on for sure. Like I'm hearing myself say 100,000 times. I got to quit doing that. That's totally killing my credibility and killing my confidence. So I have a lot of stuff to work on there, but this is like a general framework for how you overcome a lot of these objections here, right? So they're gonna ask pretty much every time about debt to income ratio. What happens if you miss a payment? How long is it gonna be in the seller's name? How do you guys make money, right? So the good news is that there's really only I don't know what it is, 10 objections that are gonna come into play. So if you just memorize the answers to all 10 of them, which is really not that hard. It's only 10 things, right? If you memorize those 10 objection overcomes, then you're pretty much set, and you can continue to refine them and continue to work on your confidence with how you repeat them and stuff like that. And that's gonna be the secret. That you're gonna be able to overcome these objections, let the agent feel comfortable with this. Hopefully, build a lifelong relationship with that agent. She's continuing to send you deals in the future. She's able to transfer that belief and that trust into her client, and then the client will obviously sign, and we can do a deal here.
Do I just respond to the email you sent me with the mortgage statement?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
So that's pretty much the rest of the call. We just go into how she's going to get me the mortgage statement and setting up times and email and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys took something away from this. The main thing that I want you to take away from this call is there's really only like roughly 10 objections that they're going to come up with. Know those ahead of time. Have your responses ready. Be sharp as a tack, right? So let me know what you guys took away from this. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.